Hello, it's time for another episode of It's Not About You. My name is Bob Benson. I pastor Christ Lutheran Church. We've been talking about selfishness and selflessness and how it affects our Christian walk. And I've had some biblical examples of selfishness and selflessness, and I thought I'd talk about Paul a little bit today. We have to remember that Paul's background. He was a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee, trained by the Yale of the day. Gamaliel was his rabbi. This guy had all the pedigrees that you need to have to be a rabbi and a Pharisee in his day. And he has this encounter with Jesus. And it changes him completely. And he's writing to the Galatian church. He's trying to encourage them as they deal with some people that are all about Gnosticism, about what we know. And he said, and I want you to listen to this from Paul's perspective. Paul's perspective, he was rooted in the law. The law was everything to him. And he says in Galatians 2, starting in verse 19, he says, "For through the law I died to the law, so that I might live to God." And then he says this, which makes him completely selfless. He says, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." He is highlighting the selflessness of Jesus Christ in Paul's life. To Paul, the law was everything. And he knew at one point he had to give that all up. And he had to live as Christ would live. We all are reminded that we have been crucified with Christ. So those selfish ambitions that we all have should have died at that point. Now, I get it. Sometimes we slip back into that thinking. I need to live like Jesus lived. I need to act like Jesus acted. I need to love like Jesus loved. Self-sacrificially, not caring what it costs us to do that, but investing fully in people. The life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God. My desires drop way down the list and are replaced with Jesus's desires. Andy and I were talking this morning, and he said that sometimes we have to die to ourselves to be able to live for Christ. And that's exactly what Paul said here. How is it that we do that? Have you heard a sermon that forced you to change your life? I have. And I would encourage you to listen to those sermons. See where you're being challenged to change your life and follow Jesus Christ with all that you have. So for It's Not About You, my name is Pastor Bob Benson. Thank you for taking the time to watch again today.